Greetings, precious friends. Welcome back to my kitchen, the Carnivore Hippie with Aunt Patty. Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite tricks for preparing a lot of ground beef crumbles easily at one time. Frying ground beef crumbles on the stovetop can be messy. It can be time consuming. You often have to cook it in batches. So I like to do mine in the oven, and I'm going to show you how I do this. I'm going to be cooking 3 pounds of ground beef at one time. However, you can do 2 panfuls and cook 6 pounds of ground beef at a time and just keep it in the fridge. My husband, I work in the evenings, and my husband is disabled, so he doesn't cook. So I like to have dishes available for him in the kitchen. And one of the things that he likes to eat for dinner is what we call carnivore nachos, which many of you are probably familiar with. It's some kind of meat and cheese melted on top of pork rinds. That's one of his favorite things to eat. And so it's really easy for him to have some cooked ground meat in the refrigerator to make his little meal that he likes. And it's also easy to have pre-cooked ground beef because you can just easily make a meal in a bowl. Put a little pizza sauce and some mozzarella on top, and you've got a pizza bowl. Whatever stuff you want to do. You could just put some salsa and some cheese and make, a taco bowl. It's just really, really handy thing to have in the refrigerator, and it just simplifies your life when you're eating a carnivore diet, because you just really don't have access to a whole lot of convenient foods. So you have to invest a little time into creating the convenience for yourself. So I'm going to show you what we're doing. We've got a 13 by 18 inch sheet pan, which I'm going to show you here. I have to move my camera here. There we go. We have a 13 by 18 inch sheet pan. And this is 3 pounds of 73% lean ground beef. And I've pre-crumbled it into the pan. It's very cold. I just want to show you, when it's cold, it's really easy to crumble up pretty much as fine as you want it to be. Just push off little bits of it and spread it all out evenly in the sheet pan. This 13 by 18, it's called a half sheet pan. It's a very standard size in the US. It's about 33 to 35 centimeters by about 45 centimeters. I don't know how they sell them in the UK or Australia or in Europe, but this is a pretty standard size. You should be able to find something about this size. So just push the ground meat just apart with your fingers a little bit, and as the little bits break off, just let them fall into the pan and spread it out as evenly as you can. This is 1.5 inches deep, so we got about 1 inch or maybe 1.25 inches of ground meat crumbles spread evenly in the pan. So the important thing is, whatever pan you use, you don't want the level of the meat to reach over the top of the pan. That's how you're going to make sure that you don't have any spillage in your oven. We're going to spread it out evenly. If you have a bigger pan, you can use more meat. You can do 2 pans this size on your 2 racks in your oven and cook 6 pounds at a time. And oh, there's my salt. So right now we're just going to salt. You're just going to salt this to taste. You don't even need to salt it if you don't want to. But I'm going to salt. This is probably going to be total, with the way my salt shaker puts out, it's probably going to be a total of about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I tend to go aim for about a half a teaspoon per pound. Now that I'm sure that it's all going to fit, I'm going to just toss it around a little bit to mix the salt in and then re-spread it out. And while I'm doing this, I can also see if there's any big chunks that I might have missed, and I can stop and break those up. Try to use a light touch with this because you don't want to recompact the meat crumbles. There we go. You can season this however you want to. You can use onion powder, you can use pepper, you can use garlic, you can use whatever you want. Just keep in mind that the more spices you use, the closer you have to watch it, because the more possibility you have of burning. And besides which, I never know what I want to season this with, what I want to turn it into. So I just put salt on it. But you can do it however you want. So here we go. This is still pretty cold. I have my oven. I don't know if you can see it, set to 400 degrees. It's all preheated. And we're going to put this in the oven, and this is going to be in the oven for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to pull it out and drain grease off of it. Gonna move my camera again. We're gonna set our kitchen timer for 20 minutes. And I will be back with you like as usual. Y'all don't want to sit and watch a timer countdown. And since I suck at editing, I'm just going to pause the video. And we will be back with you in 20 minutes. And we'll see where we're at. Hello again, precious friends. The timer's about to go off, and we're going to be taking our meat out of the oven. There it goes. I'm going to back this up. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to, we're going to turn the oven off of bake, and we're going to turn it on to broil so that we can get some browning on our beef crumbles. Oh, it's sizzling. I don't know if you can hear it. So be very careful when you're lifting this out, because there is a lot of hot fat in here. And also make sure that you have your top oven rack up at the broil set to where you want it for the broiler, which is usually on the highest rack rung. There is all of our ground beef. It's done, but you can see it's not very brown. There's not really any way to brown it in the oven without using the broiler. Now, you can use it just like this. If you're fine with it, if you don't need any browning, on it. You don't need any seared flavor. You can just let this cool a little bit in the pan for 5 minutes or so, and then pour the oil off, and then just store it, use it, whatever. But I like to have a little bit of browning, so I'm going to show you how that goes. But in the meantime, we're going to have to get rid of some of this fat. Now, as usual, I've forgotten one of my implements. If you're brave, you can just tip this pan right into a receptacle, but I always have terrible luck when I try to do that. So I've got here a repurposed jar. I like to repurpose all my glass jars. This is from Olives. And I've got a turkey baster. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to tip the pan up like this. Get my jar as close as I can, and I'm just going to use the turkey baster to transfer my fat and this fat is nice clean fat. There's not a lot of meat juice in it. And it's not overheated. It's not gotten too past its smoke point, so it's not doesn't have any of those unpleasant flavors or smells to it. This is nice clean tallow. There may be some meat juice in it, but the meat juice will settle to the bottom. You'll be able to take it out. It's going to take a minute for all of the fat to run down. So you may have to hold it up for a bit. But it's way easier than... So now you don't have to get every drop of the fat out. You can leave some in here. The important thing is that you just don't have hot fat sloshing around, and you don't have pools of hot fat going under the broiler. That's what's going to cause a problem. See, I've got this lovely little jar of tallow now that I can use for whatever I want to. It's nice and clean. You can use it for frying things. You can use it to fry up the tortang giniling recipe that I just published a little while ago. So we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait a minute or two to let the broiler heat up. So I am going to pause the video again. And once the broiler is heated up, we're going to put the ground beef back in the oven and let it brown off a little bit. Welcome back again, precious friends. Our broiler is now heated up. So in the pan of meat goes. Oh, it's very hot. My rack has been raised to the highest level and my broiler is set to high. And this is not going to take very long. We're not even going to close the oven all the way because we want to hear it sizzle. So as I was saying, this is a really good way of keeping a very fast, very healthy food at hand in your refrigerator to to make quick meals with. Anything from just throwing it in a bowl with some salt to making it a little bit fancier, like the egg and ground beef omelets that we made a little while ago, or what was it that we made before that? We made, oh yes, the beef larb, which is also really delicious. It's great when you just have a hankering for a little Asian food. And upcoming, we're going to be making a couple of more ground beef recipes with this beef that I'm making today. We're going to be doing a couple of more super easy numbers 3 and 4 in super easy and totally unboring things to do with ground beef to spice up your carnivore lifestyle. And as I have said before, these are also great dishes if you have other family members that aren't strict carnivore. It's a great way to introduce them to the idea that eating carnivore doesn't have to be just nothing but hamburger patties or bacon and eggs or steak every day. Of course, steak every day. Who doesn't like steak every day? But believe it or not, some people don't. You can easily and quickly cook up a side dish of some vegetables, or even if you have people who are eating carbohydrates in the house, you can throw together some rice or some noodles or some pasta, and you can sit down and have a meal together. So I can hear our beef crackling and sizzling, so we're going to look down here and we're going to have a peek and see what we're doing, because like I said, this isn't going to take very long. We're almost there. We're just going to let that sizzle and sizzle and sizzle away. So again, you don't have to split your household down the middle. If you have, if you have vegans in your household, I'm afraid I don't know what to tell you. But if you have people in your household that just aren't ready to convert 100% to a carnivore lifestyle, all of these meals that I'm showing you are things that you can easily adapt to people with different eating patterns, adapt to just keto, low carb, to people who are eating typical amounts of carbohydrates. And like I said, it's just so nice to have some recipes under your belt that you can sit down and have everybody in the family sit down and enjoy a meal, and have everybody have the kind of eating plan that they feel comfortable doing. So I think our beef is about done. And yes, it is. You see now here, our ground beef has some nice browning on it. Let's see if you can see this. It's some nice golden brown caramelization, and that's going to make it delicious. And at this point, we've had all the oil off of it that we need to take off. And all that we have to do at this point is load it into our storage vessel. I just have a large stainless steel bowl. You can let this cool some if you want to. I don't find that it's necessary. Just leave the lid off until it's cool enough. But you can let it cool until you feel comfortable handling the pan or the bowl. It sticks together a little bit, but it breaks up real easily. You can even spoon this right into a bowl with whatever you want to eat with, straight out of the oven for a quick meal, and then save the rest for later. And as I said before, if you have 2 of these big sheet pans, you can do double this. Of course, you'll have to trade the pans places under the broiler if you want to broil it for a little browning. Yeah. There you have it. Look, my stovetop is not covered in grease. My oven is not covered in grease. Everything is either in the bowl or in the jar. Nice and neat and clean. So, precious friends, that's my tip for making sure that my hubby has meat and I myself have meat handy if I don't feel like cooking. Just make it easy on yourself. The worst thing you can do is allow yourself to get into a situation where you feel like you have to cook all the time and you're tired. This ground beef will keep in your refrigerator. I am not kidding. Once it's cooked and cooled, it will keep in your refrigerator for 2 weeks. Okay, so you can make a bunch if you want to. If you're eating a pound of ground beef a day, you can make 6 pounds with 2 sheet pans, and it will easily keep for the week. So don't let inconvenience or fatigue knock you off track, okay? Use this tip, make some interesting recipes, get the rest of the family involved. You will not regret it. I will see you next time very soon for our next installment, number 3, in super easy and totally unboring things to do with ground beef to spice up your carnivore diet. I love you all. Peace, love, and meat. Bye.